Hi there. My name is Maren Metke, and I'm here to share about some healing and growth tools that I deeply value. We make up stories. We're built to do so as humans, magically. We've been given these beautiful frontal cortexes and this conflicting, possibly outdated animal brain, or monkey mind, that is great at tracking safety. Often certain that is about to either become dinner or need to hunt for dinner. We've forgotten that anyone can pick up a sandwich down the road when we are in this part of our mind. We're literally having some part of the chemical experience of surviving a lion attack while we're simply driving down the road, coordinating with a coworker, making vacation plans with our sweetie. Ever been there before? 1 minute you're having a normal conversation and the next minute you're overtaken by rage or terror, and it doesn't quite match. Not to invalidate that there's something likely precious or needed in that dynamic for you, or that there isn't a place in the world for real rage or terror. There is. But do you need to feel this bad to address it? It sounds tricky and complicated, maybe. Yeah? Sure, it is. We often need help separating our observation from our evaluation, or dropping more deeply into our feelings and needs to get clear about what actual strategy can meet, satisfy, or enrich our lives. We meditate, see the therapist, track our sleep and food, read the books, practice yoga, breathe, and watch the company we keep, striving to be better, more evolved humans. But here we are in this moment, so taken by our story that we cannot even see where we're headed. And on the flip side, this ability to make stuff up is amazing, available, and can work for us too. In theater improv, there's this really fun game called Quick Change, where two players may be acting out a scene, and one is, say, like the mad scientist operating on the terrified victim patient. But at the moment, another game participant on the outside will yell, "Quick change," and what they have to do in that moment is shift their physical and emotional dynamic to something completely different than what they were doing before. So mad scientist becomes exhausted mother, and victim patient becomes unruly toddler, and so the game continues, if you can imagine. Pretty funny, actually. This game represents the option of flexibility and a metaphor for what could free us, what is available in all of us with just a little tweak or playfulness or perspective. I get this example as one of theater improv, which you're not in that moment, but our systems actually work similarly. Feelings are not meant to stay forever. They're meant to change and pass like weather. We're not static creatures. They say you can't selectively numb emotions. And what happens when we do try, which we often do, especially if we feel something really unpleasant, is we kind of push it down, and what it creates in our body is actually like an emotional traffic jam. We get stuck, we get uncertain, we get blinded and overwhelmed. They say the creature with the most flexibility in the system, here we're talking about relational systems, wins. They say the crack is where the light gets in. In this part of ourselves, in this moment, we can reframe, redesign, and revisualize patterns or dynamics that limit us. We've been there all along. By integrating the diverse tools of transformational NLP and NVC, known as compassionate communication, the goal is for these parts inside of us to have access to much more choice, power, and happiness than they've previously known, by offering deeper empathy and clarity, self-awareness, repatterning, re-imprinting, or even just reorganizing how our actual neurology is structured. The basis of both of these tools is fundamental trust of your own ability to have access to the healing, the very healing that you need, or the very set of resources that you are so craving. Even within the wound itself, and then the craving that it creates, we have that orientation and focus. So if you can imagine for a moment the silhouette or the shape of like a hard experience in life or a trauma, you can kind of see the outline there, and here's the dark part, and this is kind of where the challenging experience lives on this side. And if we look at this line, we see the shape, and right directly on the other side of that, equally as available, are all the tools, healing, desires, and positive intentions. So here, in this example, is the opportunity for that quick change, right? Or maybe not so quick for some of us. In this model here, the depressed part gets reframed as the protester. Its positive intentions acknowledged as it has lain itself down in front of the excavator yelling, "Hey, stop, listen to me, stop. Something needs to stop." It just needs a clear sign, and a way to make change or anything else happen aside from what's happening. The competitive part of us over here gets transformed from jealous or aggressive into the quality tracker, the part that really wants to know where we are at, that we're doing our best, that we're seen and growing and standing tall. The giving up part, maybe even suicidal thoughts, this depressed part, gets reframed as the part that is done with something. Not the whole baby going out with the bathwater, but a pattern or a lifestyle, a relationship, or a piece that needs a metaphorical death, or even just permission to change. See if we can notice now how much more available for love and life we are with these shifts over. It's all available on this side. And how by focusing so much on this death over here, the thing we are equally obsessed with is life, the absence of it, the need for it to be bearable, available, feeling alive, to have permission to access it in a way that works for us. I'm not saying go off your meds, chemistry might be a significant part of what you're struggling with and needing support around. I'm just saying go deeper, look and listen further than you have. Trust that there's something possibly more true than what you've been getting from your system and your mind currently, or even reflected from the outside. This isn't modeled to us in society. We're not necessarily taught from a young age, like, oh, really track your feelings and your needs. Oh, drop in deeper, trust yourself, trust your feelings to get you closer to what it is you really love and want. So we go back to these parts inside of us that are reacting. This part needs a little more kindness or empathy. That part needs a different perspective, or to understand, why was mom so grumpy that day at the park when we were 4? This part needs to know that others have experienced what it has experienced, that it isn't just wrong or right or alone. When we were little, these parts of us created so many beliefs about the world, ourselves, and each other, some more pleasant than others. The painful ones ranging from mild misinterpretations to severe trauma. They say 0 to 5 is the usual timeline where most beliefs, fundamental beliefs, are formed about life. These parts of us are absolutely creative and brilliant, and also very young, limited in resource. We're making decisions from a very limited place and perspective. And today, these parts seriously need an update. When 3-year-old you watched mom and dad argue and decided that love must be dangerous, and that it was its job to maintain that belief by endlessly watching for the dynamic, you have a big problem. You have a 3-year-old in charge of your love life and ability to discern safety from danger, or in charge of your finances or whatever. They've been given a job much too big for them, too hard, impossible really. And they've been busting their ass for all these years now to keep you safe. And you haven't likely even noticed, so they're likely resentful and exhausted. Poor little guy just really wants to go outside and make mud pies and finger paint with their friends, but instead they've been hypervigilant, fighting off tigers of love in one way or another, exhausted, unworkable, lonely. None of these hard dynamics are things we would wish on anyone, but they happen in little and big ways every day, everywhere. They happen, and they leave their mark, their silhouette, their belief. They leave a possibility for victimhood, pain, or depression. Or they leave a possibility for a positive spin and positive resource if we so choose, if we have access or the privilege, if it doesn't invalidate the wound too much, if it's not too much to ask, with just the right amount of time or support or perspective, now we get to make up shit that works for us. That's right. Thanks for joining me today, and thanks to all those younger parts of you that have been working so hard for so long. And may they get to go make some mud pies with some friends in the backyard.